You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? A robot and a dog walk into a bar. No joke there, they just did that plus a bunch of other stuff together. Since Robot Dreams didn't have any dialogue, Amber and Scott will give you theirs about AI friendships and more. Now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
You find yourself in the unique position.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
What would you do?
How do you want to handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
If you had told me that I was going to walk into an animated movie that had zero dialogue and I was going to come out thinking, I freaking love that movie, I would have called you a liar. But here we are.
Here we are. We're talking about Robot Dreams today.
Yes, Robot Dreams is an animated film set in a futuristic world where robots and humans coexist. The story follows a robot and his owner, Dog, as they navigate the challenges of their unique bond. When Dog accidentally leaves Robot on a beach, the robot's journey of self-discovery begins. Separated from his owner, Robot explores the world, meeting various characters and facing dilemmas that challenge his understanding of friendship, loyalty, and freedom.
This was a delightful film. I really enjoyed this a lot.
It really was. It told a very poignant story.
All without dialogue.
Zero dialogue. I mean, some Bee Gees songs, but
yes,
but no dialogue. And I actually think that this is particularly relevant in today's society because AI is here and general artificial intelligence, like actual, is probably not far behind. Like, this is not far-fetched to think that you could have a sentient robot as your friend. You could buy a friend.
Yeah, and the situation with this robot is he was a very primitive looking robot, almost in the vein of C3 C3PO.
Yeah.
And he was very emotionally connected with Dog. So Dog had ordered Robot because he was lonely and wanted some company. And Robot shows up in a box and Dog assembles him and there he is. And they go out to the park, they hold hands, they go roller skating, they go out to eat, they watch the ships in the river pass, and they just have a lovely, beautiful relationship.
Yeah, it was as though Robot was initially programmed to attempt to discover and mirror the feelings that the other person had towards it. And
that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
But it felt near the end like it wasn't mirroring anymore. It actually truly had established a deep feelings for Dog.
Yeah, so the storyline goes where Robot and Dog have this lovely relationship, and they go to the beach, and Robot ends up getting trapped on the beach. They have a chain link fence in like a Coney Island type area, and Dog winds up being on the outside of the fence, and Robot is trapped on the inside of the fence, and he languishes there for the entire winter until Dog can get him out again in 6 months or so when the beach reopens. And he tries once or twice to get access to Robot and then just kind of says, okay, well, I'm going to circle this date in the calendar in 6 months and I'm going to go back and get Robot then. But in the meantime, Robot is peppered by the elements and has a couple of adventures, and someone comes and chops off his leg. And
Okay, so let's get to the meat of what we do here. We ask, what would you do?
Yes.
Let's start with the initial just decision by Dog to purchase Robot. So if you have an opportunity to purchase basically sentient life that is yours, do you do this? Because it starts to get interesting, because in our nation's history, about 200 years ago, you used to be able to purchase sentient life. Now, obviously, not the same.
No, it's not the
But
same.
I do think it brings up some similar discussions. Like, at what point is life life?
I don't know if it brings up similar discussions. That is a much different topic and certainly not one that I think is applicable here.
Well, that one's extremely cut and dry as far as, that's no good. We shouldn't be having that. No one should be doing that. But
full stop, period.
Full stop, 100%. But this is a scenario that I think if you asked 100 people, you would find at least 25 on each side of yes and no.
It was interesting in the fact that this robot wasn't purchased to wash the dishes or to do tasks or to make dog's life easier. Robot was purchased to be a companion to dog, and he was a great companion. And you had just mentioned at the end what had happened at the end, and what had happened at the end for folks who haven't seen is after a long period of separation, Robot finally sees dog,
but dog has
moved on and has a new robot, and Robot wanted to be reunited and pick up where they left off, and he is
and mind you, Robot has a new owner.
Yes, and he's somewhat been Frankenstein together with all different kinds of parts.
Boombox.
And he sees dog and wants to be reunited, but dog has a new robot. And he's on the verge of tapping him on the shoulder and then stops. And this is the beautiful part where you talk about a sentient being, is you very much feel that Robot wants dog to be happy with his new life and his new robot.
He put dog's feelings above his own.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, for an animated, no dialogue thing, the thing was a bit of a tearjerker.
Yeah, it really was. It was very emotional.
But
a cartoon.
But back to the question.
Sure.
Would you purchase a robot for the idea of companionship if you were in a similar situation?
For companionship, I think it can serve a beautiful purpose. I think of folks during the pandemic, especially so many senior citizens who were left on their own and truly suffered from feeling isolated and disconnected. And loneliness is a terribly brutal thing to have to suffer through. So if having a robot companion can alleviate anyone's sense of loneliness, as long as it doesn't serve to cut you off, but if it serves to bridge a gap because you're cut off, I think that's a useful thing.
It's actually really interesting when you say COVID, because you actually could have led to scenarios where the robot could have served as like an errand boy of sorts. Like if you needed groceries,
yes,
or
all the robots fighting to get toilet paper during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, like you send your robot to the store, or you send it out to grab food, or whatever, so that you could stay home and stay safe. And the robot just knows when it comes back, it's got to grab a wipe and wipe itself down.
Yeah.
To get any potential COVID off of it.
That would have been handy for all of us. There would have been a lot of robots in the market in Costco wiping down things.
Yeah, and I will say, especially with an elderly population that maybe needs more supervision than is easy for an actual, like, another human or needing a staff. You could have a robot that really doesn't need to take breaks outside of figuring out how to recharge its batteries.
Could help with medication.
Oh, yeah.
And basic chores around the home, making sure that someone was safe. There's so many applications.
But what do you do when this thing has sentient life and feelings, and you would presume eventually things like needs? And I mean, I don't know. And that's the interesting thing. Where does it stop just being a chore bot?
Which it never was. Dog didn't use him that way.
Well, I mean, the chore was being a companion.
Right.
So,
but Robot liked it, so I don't think Robot would have thought of that as a chore.
Yeah, no, in that case. But even if, like, let's say it was a chore bot, but they achieved really to the point that they could think and have feelings. Like, is there a point that it is cruel to keep them around as a slave? Or is it, I am a human, you are a robot, this is how it is?
Well, I don't, in this case of this film, someone wasn't programmed to have that, do I want to be here or not? However, as the film progressed, I think if Robot had the choice to stay or to go, he would have stayed because he actually formed a real relationship with
yeah.
Dog. And that's why it was so amazing to see him choose Dog's feelings and emotions at the end and not disturbing him and disrupting what he had with his new robot.
Well, and that's...
Or with his, with his
I mean,
new
it's
robot.
kind of easy if your programming is to be a friend bot because, like, you're giving emotion and getting emotion back.
Right.
So I guess I was going more on the greater AI discussion. But I want to move to the beach now. So
I was devastated when Dog left him at the beach and then tried once, maybe twice.
I think it was twice.
And then was just like, okay, well, guess I'll come back in the spring. That actually made me so sad because I thought if it was my companion there, robot or not, I would be going back every day to try to help him.
Yeah, I'd figure out how to get a damn rowboat if I needed to at night and row around onto the beach to try to get there. I mean, like I would.
Yeah, every day.
Would not stop. Like you could try to stop me, but you wouldn't be successful. Like you might stop me and turn me away, but that's not going to stop me from trying again because I only have to be successful one time.
Right. And for those who haven't seen the film, Robot's battery basically dies. So that's why he's trapped laying on the beach. And at some point in the film, a couple characters do row up in a boat. And unfortunately, instead of helping Robot, they cut off part of his leg. And so we know there was access to the beach because another boat reached it. So if I were Dog, I would be going in with a helicopter, as you said, a boat. I really was very disappointed when Dog did give up and just said, okay, well, this is how life is, and I'll try again in 6 months.
I mean, I guess you needed that to have a movie, but yeah, no.
Robot was ironically more devoted to Dog than Dog was to Robot, I think. And
I don't
how
think
those
it's ironic at all. I think that's the robot's programming. And to Dog, yes, companion, yes, but also something I purchased, something I can purchase again.
Yeah, which he ultimately
Does,
yes.
And it was interesting to see because the robot literally has dreams on the beach. Hence
Robot Dreams.
Robot Dreams. And
it's about him being freed from the beach and reuniting with Dog. All of his dreams are about his situation changing and him being able to go back.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I agree with you. I think Dog gave up way too prematurely. Now, again, necessary to have a movie, but real life's not a movie.
Yeah, but I think you could have had a movie where Dog tried every day to rescue Robot. Now, the ending might have been a little different, but I don't know. I guess you could only have that wonderful ending of Robot letting Dog be happy.
Yeah.
If things hadn't panned out the way that they had.
Yeah.
It was a good film talking about companionship and relationships and loneliness and loyalty. And I think all of those things can probably be better executed with a robot sometimes than with actual human beings.
Oh, I could not possibly agree more.
Yeah.
In that case. So, yeah. I mean, if it's me and I've got a chance to purchase a robot, I'm doing it. I am. And if we have a sentient life situation later, I'm kind of like, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. If I end up having to have a conversation with this thing that I've purchased and been like, how do you feel about this? And like trying to respect their feelings, sure. But in the meanwhile, go wash my dishes. Go get my food.
Yeah. I don't know if leave my dishes, go get my food. But it wouldn't be bad to have someone around to occasionally play a round of Uno with.
Yeah, we're tapering here, aren't we?
So yes, definitely. If I had the opportunity to mail away for a friend who was a true blue loyal friend, I would do that.
And if you ever get separated from that friend,
Be a friend.
You don't stop until you get them back. Period.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release at least 1 and generally 2 to 3 episodes a week, so we have new content regularly. Until next time.